back at it again with another sketchbook tour. Hello! So here I am with another sketchbook tour. I don't even remember exactly the time that I last uploaded my last sketchbook tour, so it's been a while. I finished the sketchbook quite a while even before I uploaded the first part of my last sketchbook tour, I think. So I'm kind of behind on filming this. In any case, this is my fourth completed sketchbook, and I named it Dense Abstract. And it was inspired by the artist known as Peter Draws on Instagram and YouTube, and I'll link his links down below. So you should check him out. He's got a pretty cool channel and he's got some rad art, so I highly recommend checking out his stuff. But yeah, so I started this sketchbook in 2015 and I finished it in October of 2017, so about 2 years, which isn't too bad, but like my usual pace, it's not that big. I think it was like about 48 pages total of the sketchbook, and it took me 2 years to fill, so you know, that's how I do. But yeah, in this sketchbook I mostly just wanted to work on like putting actual details and stuff, just because my art style is like pretty simple. Not that I mind that, it's just when I look at other artists' work, I envy like how much detail they seem to be able to put into a drawing, whereas like I get through to like that point of a drawing where it's like, oh, here is where you would add detail, and I'm just like, meh. So I was trying to train myself to do that, and I was inspired by Peter Draws, so this whole sketchbook kind of looks like some of his stuff, but not really. His stuff is much better. And this is a render sketchbook, which I also got because I saw Peter Draws using one, and I was like, ooh, I gotta test it out. So I got like the smallest possible one because they're kind of expensive. Like, I think this one was like $13 or something. Because like they're famous for not like the pages not bleeding, which they don't really, so that's nice. I didn't have any experience of the pages bleeding on me, but I only really used markers, and at most I used acrylic paint, and the page didn't really warp, so I mean, that's a win. But I also got it because I never draw on the left side of the paper, and I wanted to be able to do like cross-section pieces like this. So that's another reason why I got it, because like every marker I've ever used on every sketchbook I basically ever used, the marker shows through a little bit, but here it does not. So I tried it, and I don't think it's for me. Honestly, for me it's not worth it, but for someone else it might be. These two I think are my favorite in this sketchbook. There's not a whole lot to say about artwork when it's abstract. It's like you either like it or you don't. That's kind of the whole deal. Like this one I hate. I made it, but I hate it. And this one is my least favorite. So I mean, it's how you do it. You hate some and you like some, and that's how life is when you draw. This one I really like. This one, you know, there's like a certain point in every sketchbook where you kind of just have to ruin it, and this was me ruining this sketchbook. I just decided, you know what, I don't care if the sketches all look good anymore, and so I actively kind of ruined it. And this was fun, so I don't regret it. This is When Alien Beings Attack. Olives, I don't know if you know this, but olives are alien beings. Just a thought. Food for thought. Also, pretty much every circle I've ever made in this sketchbook I used a stencil. Because you know what? I don't have time to just go around trying to make a perfect circle when I'm inking in pen. So I use a stencil, and there's no shame in that. I also use rulers, so ooh. This one I tried stippling, and I hate it, so I gave up. This is probably the most unfinished piece in here, because I really did just give up. I was gonna make a whole like cool stippled thing, but I absolutely hate doing it, so I stopped. And that's okay. You can stop doing something if you hate it. It's totally fine. Totally legitimate reason to stop doing something. This one, I don't like the center part right here, but I do like this kind of texture I got, so I think I'll probably use that again in the future. This one, I used IKEA Mala markers. I could be pronouncing that wrong. I don't know. I'm American, so who knows. But I actually kind of like how they look because they're very vibrant. And they're very cheap, so I mean, not a bad deal, for me at least. These ones, I use some real fancy Winsor Newton markers, like they were like the white barrel Winsor Newton markers that were just as expensive as Copics, and their quality was absolute garbage, so I don't recommend them. A friend got them, so it was fun to use them, but they honestly, like this was the only thing I used with them, and they all like started dying, and that's not even that much marker ink, because literally the sketchbook is smaller than my whole hand, so they're pretty poop. This one, I used to doodle this in my psychometrics class, and I transferred it, kind of like the idea, to this sketchbook, and I kind of like this one. It's fun to doodle. I don't really care about this one. Here's my usual shtick of abstract, is these little blob things, which are fun to draw. Highly recommend drawing blobs. They're fun. These pages, basically what I did is I just took a black Sharpie, colored both the pages all the way in, and then I took my like painty or like silvery markers and just tested them out, seeing how they looked. Because I probably will never buy a black page sketchbook because it's not my thing. So I just wanted to see how it would look. I think it looks pretty good. They actually pretty vibrant on black paper, so that's cool. This one I did well poured at a couple jobs ago, which is most of these. I was basically just trying to finish the sketchbook at my job because my job was pretty boring at the time, so. Here's a bunch of weird looking eyeballs that took me forever. And I don't know if you can see it in the picture here, but it's just like very patchy black because I was using up all of my black inking markers for this one. Here's another one. I think this one actually turned out more of like how I envisioned this sketchbook to look like. And it took me a while to get to this point, like to kind of just get to a point where I'm like, oh yeah, this is where a thing should go, and it looks good to me. So it took me pretty much a whole sketchbook, but I got there. You can learn stuff within a sketchbook, even if it's a small one. I like this one too. This one I was bored and I had a Sharpie on me, so what are you gonna do? This one I like. This one was just Sharpies, and the surprising thing actually about Render Crescent sketchbooks is that Sharpies look really smooth on them. Like you don't see like a bunch of streaky lines on your sketchbooks. So if you like your Sharpies not looking streaky, this is good paper for that. Here is where I used acrylic and like as you can see, like the page warped a little bit, but not as much as I was expecting, given that I put straight up paint on it, and it didn't, like, you can't see it except for like where I accidentally brushed over the edge here with paint, but you can't see it on the other side, so really good. Yeah. More Sharpie nonsense. Another squiggly doodle. And another squiggly doodle. These were with pens I got from an Art Snacks box, and they were not for me, but I liked the colors. This one I also like. I think this one's only slightly streaky with the Sharpie just because the marker was dying on me and I was really just trying to get through this page with it, so. And here are the last pages. I actually really like these because this is my first time like actually trying to like work with a brush pen. Actually 2 different brush pens, and I really like them, so I would recommend these. Actually, yeah, I used these 2 brush pens. I couldn't tell you what this one was called, but I really recommend it. It's fun to use. And the ink lasts forever on this thing. Like, I've had this for almost a year now, and I've only used half a barrel. So that, usually I go through pens pretty quickly. So I'm pretty happy with this one lasting that long. This one does not last a long time, but it's really fun to work with. So, and this one's like the Pentel something another. I don't know. It was like 18 bucks at Michael's. But once you buy like the actual thing, like the ink refills on jet pens are pretty cheap, so. But yeah, that is this sketchbook. I hope you liked it, and I hope you'll check out my other sketchbook tours. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye!